With a new From Software title on the horizon, there's never been a more perfect time to dive into their catalog of games. Now that Dark Souls Remastered is out, those who had a happy childhood with fond memories of challenging but fair video games can now understand why some people buy a new controller with each Dark Souls release. So for the first-timers out there attempting to take on Dark Souls, we have 5 tips for you. Just don't expect these to stop you from dying all the time. Tip number 1, dodge. The dodging mechanic in most games simply makes the character invincible during the animation. But this isn't how Dark Souls does it. Dark Souls is purely collision detection, meaning that if a weapon or attack makes contact with you, no matter what you're doing, you're going to take damage. You'll also need to identify an opponent's attack to know which direction to dodge. However, you won't be able to completely rely on dodging. Watch your stamina. Dodge only when you need to. If you dodge too much, you won't have the stamina to hold a block. Speaking of blocking, tip number 2, blocking. If you're new to Dark Souls and don't have a grasp on evading just yet, then your main defense will be your shield. But you're no hero of time, so your shield isn't gonna block everything. Shielding in Dark Souls relies heavily on your stamina. Each attack that hits your shield will drain your stamina, and once you're out, your stance will break, leaving you wide open for an attack. When defending, you'll want to make time for your stamina to recharge. It may seem smart to keep your shield up to protect against another attack, but this will keep your stamina from recharging at full speed. Let your shield down when you can. This will allow your stamina to refill at a much faster rate and give you energy to block or dodge the next attack. However, if you're just exploring, keep that shield up. Just because you don't see an enemy doesn't mean they don't see you. Enemies can be hiding anywhere, like on a higher ledge or directly behind a corner. If you keep your shield up while traversing, it may be your best bet at blocking an unseen attack. Tip number 3, parry. After playing through an area countless times, you'll start to learn the enemy's attack patterns. When you notice an enemy is about to strike, you can block or dodge it. But if you're feeling lucky, you can try to parry. It's a risky move, but if done successfully, the payoff is huge. Parrying an attack will knock your opponent off stance, staggering them for just a second. But follow this up with an attack to inflict massive amounts of damage, potentially killing them instantly. This is an easy way to take out tough opponents, but if you miss the parry, you'll leave yourself wide open for the enemy's next attack. So know the risk and plan accordingly. Tip number 4, lock on. Dark Souls has a convenient feature that allows you to lock onto your opponent, which can be a lifesaver if used properly, and the death of the player if used improperly. When first attacked, you can easily forget to do this, especially if it wasn't a planned battle. But it's difficult to precisely block an attack or even hit an opponent if you're not locked onto them. While locked on, your character will constantly face the enemy, making them the primary focus. This is perfect for shielding and attacking. When facing multiple enemies, you'll be able to switch targets easily. Just be sure to keep your target on the closest opponent, only switching when needed. Tip number 5, Kindle Fire. Now, Dark Souls is no walk in the park. You're going to die again, and again. They didn't name a version of the game the Prepare to Die edition for nothing, you guys. But Estus Flasks will keep you going. These serve as a basic health potion and will restock to a total of 5 at every bonfire. However, on your travels, you may just find some humanity lying around. One great use for humanity is to kindle a fire. If you walk up to a bonfire as a human, you'll be able to select the option Kindle. This will make the fire burn brighter, giving you 10 Estus Flasks instead of the typical 5. These Estus Flasks are incredibly valuable when dealing with an area filled with enemies or if you're heading into a difficult boss fight. Remember, you can only kindle fire when you're human. So if you've died recently, you'll need to spend humanity to reverse the hollowing before you can kindle that fire. Dark Souls isn't and has never been a series for the faint of heart. It's brutally challenging and downright unfair at times. Getting blindsided by enemies and traps can leave you frustrated, especially if you were hauling a good number of souls. But that's the beauty of this game. The frustration, challenges, and unfair obstacles all become worth it as you conquer each of them. Each boss's defeat feels like a reward in itself because of the skills you needed to master and the sheer determination it took to get through it. There's no hand-holding and there are no tutorials. But that's where the true fun lies, as well as the unmatched feeling of accomplishment. So we wish you luck on your journey. May you praise the sun for yet another day.